vidinoti suhruchatam nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki karoti vachalam bangam langayate grimit kripatam hamande shri guru dinitaran paramananda madhavam sri chaitanya vishnu hari om tatsat. Thank you all for joining. We are in the Srimad Bhagavatam daily Bhagavata Sevaya daily study. We are in chapter Canto 1, chapter 6, text 34. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Etadhyaturachittanam
एतद्ध्यातुरचित्तानां
matra sparshe chaya muhu
मात्रा परिक्षया
मुहुः
bhavasindu plavo drusto
भवसिन्धु प्लवो दृष्टो
haricharyanu varnanam.
हरिचर्यादिवर्णनम्
Etadhyaturachittanam
एतद्ध्यातुचित्तानां
matra sparshe chaya muhu
मात्रा परिक्षया मुहुः
bhavasindu plavo drusto
भवसिन्धु प्लवो दृष्टो
haricharyanu varnanam.
हरिचर्यादिवर्णनम्.
Anyone wants to recite?
Prabhuji. एतद्ध्यातुरचित्तानां
Etadhyaturachittanam
मात्रा स्पर्शेच्छया मुहुः
matra sparshe muhu
भवसिन्धु प्लवदृष्टो
bhavasindu plavo drusto
हरिचर्याणुवर्णनम्
haricharyanu varnanam. Anyone else? Okay, we'll get started. So we'll see the synonyms word to word. Etad, this, he, certainly. Atura chittanam, of those whose minds are always full of cares and anxieties. Matra, objects of sense enjoyment. Sparsha, senses. Ichaya, by desires. Muhu, always. Bhavasindhu, the ocean of nescience. Plavaha, boat. Drishtaha, experienced. Haricharya, activities of Hari, the personality of Godhead. Anuvarnanam, constant recitation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat, the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Purport. The symptom of a living being is that he cannot remain silent even for some time. He must be doing something, thinking of something, or talking about something. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. But as these things are exercised under the influence of the external illusory energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. On the contrary, they become full with cares and anxieties. This is called Maya, or what is not. That which cannot give them satisfaction is accepted as an object for satisfaction. So Narada Muni, by his personal experience, says that satisfaction for such frustrated beings engaged in sense gratification is to chant always the activities of the Lord. The point is that the subject matter only should be changed. No one can check the thinking activities of a living entity, nor the feeling, willing, or working processes. But if one wants actual happiness, one must change the subject matter only. Instead of talking of the politics of a dying man, one might discuss the politics administered by the Lord Himself. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artist, one can turn his attention to the activities of the Lord with his eternal associates like the Gopis and Lakshmis. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, by His causeless mercy, descends to the earth and manifests activities almost on the line of the worldly men, but at the same time extraordinarily, because He is Almighty. He does so for the benefit of all conditioned souls, so that they can turn their attention to transcendence. By doing so, the conditioned soul will gradually be promoted to the transcendental position and easily cross the ocean of nescience, the source of all miseries. This is stated from personal experience by such an authority as Narada Muni, and we can have the same experience also if we begin to follow the footsteps of the great sage, the dearmost devotee of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my spiritual senses unto him. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are discussing from chapter 6 in Canto 1, where Narada Muni is having a conversation with Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva asked the question after Narada gave him the clarification on the reason for his despondence or dissatisfaction, that even after compiling all the Vedas, why he is not fully satisfied. And he told that because you gave all this knowledge in the Vedas, but you did not clearly point them what is the right thing. So if you get an encyclopedia which contains everything, but if you don't know what is the importance of that, then you will be bewildered. So the human beings got everything in the Vedas, but the Vedas also contain the conclusion of the Vedas, Vedanta. But then Vyasadeva did not clearly point out this is the purpose of the Vedas. So that's why he was having this dissatisfaction. Narada Muni clearly told, so write a commentary on the Vedanta, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, which clearly tells the essence of all the Vedas is to engage in the service of the Supreme Lord by listening to his pastimes, glorifying his name, fame, everything, and go back to Godhead. So then Vyasadeva also asked the question, oh Narada Muni, how did you, oh spiritual master, how did you get this knowledge? Because in the previous life, what happened? Because in this life you appeared by yourself, and you in the previous life you got the enlightenment. How did this knowledge carry over? And Narada Muni started telling about his previous life, where he was. It's raising hand. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. So Narada Muni was telling him that yeah, in this previous life he was like an ordinary living entity, living being, who was the son of a maidservant, and during Chaturmasya, some saintly persons visited, and he got the association. He took their remnants, and they gave him the most confidential knowledge, which is devotional service. The pure devotional service is the ultimate purpose, and he started after time took away his association from of his mother due to a snake bite. Then he started traveling north, and then he sat in meditation, and he got a glimpse of the Supreme Lord, where every cell in his body became spiritualized or activated. And then the Supreme Lord said that continue your sadhana, and then you will be able to achieve me in the next life. So he continued, and at the towards after doing some sadhana for many years, he sadhana means glorifying. So as soon as he got that, he stopped that meditation right away. And what did he do afterwards? He's traveled around the whole world glorifying the names of the Supreme Lord. And at one point, he left the body, and immediately his body became spiritualized. And that point onwards, he was having a spiritual body. And at the end of the kalpa, he went back to Brahma's body, and in the new kalpa, he came in this new kalpa again when Brahma appeared along with Brahma. And this bhakti, or the knowledge that you get from the spiritual path, it doesn't decrement. It's always there. So from that point onwards, Narada Muni is always established on a siddha state. Like he doesn't come under the influence of the material world. So he has been glorifying yuga after yuga. We have seen he was there during the Hiranyakashipu time, Hiranyaksha, uh, during Bali, the time of Bali, everybody. So he has been going on from every yuga, and then he's motivating people, and like Prahlada, Dhruva, and we have seen so many devotees who all got inspired. And we have seen Prabhupada also say that even in Kali Yuga, whenever there is a glorification of the Krishna and then the Hari Kirtana, Narada will appear there. And Prabhupada was pointing, hey, did you see Narada when the Kirtan was going ecstatically? So he is still traveling around the whole world, and he is inspiring more and more devotees in this world, in the other material worlds also. He can travel from the transcendental world and the material world also. And Narada Muni was saying that as soon as he starts, in the previous verse we studied, right? As soon as he chants the holy name, as if Krishna was called by someone, he immediately appears in the heart. So, what do we think of this? When we think of Narada Muni, the first thing that comes to our mind is hope, right? Because when you start doing this sadhana, you want to understand whether you will be successful or not. And so many examples are there. So many acharyas are there. But then when you look at them, when you look at acharyas as example, uh, we find out when what their previous life has been, and we understand that they have been always associates with Krishna, the Supreme Lord. They have been like associates, or their manjaris, like associates of gopis, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like that. Which means that they are not under the influence of the material, under the material influence of Maya. Then I am a living entity. What is who I can take as an example, or who can tell me that my I am also able to go to that level, right? So then we can think of Narada Muni, because he told what his previous life is. He told everyone through this Srimad Bhagavatam that yes, I am an ordinary living entity like you in my previous life, but then I became a Siddha, which means that we all can take the footsteps of Narada Muni, and we all have the ability to also reach that Siddha state. So that's a great, great benediction. Look, if you think, not many people have shared their previous lives, but Narada Muni himself is saying that even ordinary living entities like me can achieve the topmost. And what is that he is saying? That he is the dearmost devotee of the Lord. Why he became to the topmost level? If you think of any devotee who is the dearmost of the Supreme Lord, it is Narada Muni only. Why was he able to achieve that state? Because his only um, uh, like activity is to glorify the Supreme Lord. Wherever he goes, he is always glorifying the Supreme Lord. And the same thing is what we can also do. Because as living entities, we cannot remain silent even for a moment. The soul is always active. And why, as a human being, we cannot remain silent means even in this body, the soul resides and the soul constantly seeks activity. And it is said in Bhagavad Gita 3.5, Nahi kaschit kshanam api jatu tishtanti akarmakrit, means that the Atma is by nature always active, and it cannot remain inactive. And and that's the reason why when the only activity in the spiritual world is the devotional service. Means we if we want to be active in the spiritual world, we have to engage in devotional service. And if we did not want to engage in devotional service, which is having a relationship with the Supreme Lord and serve Him, then there is no activity. But the soul needs activity. So that's why the Supreme Lord is so merciful, and He created this material world and said, okay, at least if you don't want to be in my association, you go and have your own activity by doing whatever you want. But He gave the facility. But then what's the problem in this material world? We are finding happiness where there is no happiness. This is dukkhalaya mashaswatam. Why some people will say, why are you saying that there is no happiness in the material world? Uh, because I can keep doing activity uh, and I'm getting the sense enjoyment, right? But that is the problem. We are thinking that we are happy, but we are not, because essentially it is giving some pleasures for sure. Yes, so the sense objects are giving some pleasures, but they are not giving the satisfaction. The soul also needs satisfaction. And is the satisfaction coming? No. Why? Because the pleasure that we get is short-lived, and it means that it's not permanent. We get some nice food to eat. After we eat, we again become hungry after some time. If we get some nice car, we sit in the car for 1 or 2 days. It will be nice, but after that it becomes bored. And same thing with house. After some time, it creates some repairs, and you have to struggle and think that why I bought this house like that. So the thing is, there is anxiety also. That is okay. Even if we are enjoying something, we'll have the question, will I lose it soon? Okay, what's next after this? Or and also we compare, right? And then we say, oh, is my thing the right choice? Is the other person enjoying better than me? So this constant um, anxiety will also be there, and it never gives us satisfaction. So we keep on engaging again and again and again. So if you see like the new YouTube and people like the younger generation, they're constantly scrolling the videos after short videos. It became so much that now it's all like 30-second videos. After that, I can keep scrolling. That it's called the scroll of infinite scroll, right? Where you constantly keep on, you're doomed by keep on scrolling. Once you're stuck in that scrolling, you keep on scrolling to get that. So that is what it is. We are not getting the full satisfaction, and we are constantly engaging in that. So if we are not intelligent, then we might think that okay, this is the satisfaction that this is the happiness I'm getting. I'm okay with that. But if you are intelligent, we all question that something is there that this is not giving me satisfaction. I need that full satisfaction. And what we in that case is that the verse is saying is that Hari Kirtana. So if we break this verse into multiple four lines, it says that etad dhyatura chittanam, those who are always in mind is always in cares and anxieties. For them, why is the reason for those anxieties? Matra sparshechaya muhu, because they are desiring to enjoy the senses, and we know the senses don't give the full satisfaction. For them, bhavasvindu plavo drishto, in this Bhavasindhu, the only way of satisfaction is by engaging in the sense objects. But that is doesn't give the satisfaction. So what they can do, they have to get out of this material world. And what is the way of getting out of this material world? Haricharyanu Varnanam means to uh, like constant recitation of the glories of the Supreme Lord. How, like anything that we know? No, it is Anuvarnanam means following in the footsteps of the Anu means to follow. Varnana means to describe. So what we do is we constantly uh, follow the footsteps of the acharyas and do that. So we can see from Bhagavad Gita, right? It says that dhyayato vishyan pumsaha sangaste shopajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodha abhijayate means if we are constantly contemplating on the sense objects, then we develop an attachment for them, and lust develops, and lust arises into anger. So what's happening is if we ask for the root cause of anger, it is the same thing that we are constantly thinking of the senses, and once we are thinking of the senses, a sense of attachment develops, and with that attachment, we do activities, but that desire doesn't get satisfied, and what happens? We always become angry, constantly, always angry, and once we become angry, in the next verse, Krishna is saying that we get deluded and we lose our memory. And when we lose our memory, our intelligence is lost, and we again fall into the material world. So that's why we have been constantly being in this material world, life after life, because we are keep on desiring to have the sense gratification. And that's why Krishna is saying that mama evamse jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manasasani indriyani prakriti karshati. The living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragments. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So we are not different. We are also parts and parcels of Krishna, and we are seeking that constant bliss. Our nature of the living entity is Sachitananda Vigraha, means constant. It is eternal, full of consciousness, and it is always wanting to be blissful. But because we are encaged in this material body, that we are trying as if somebody is in a prison and trying for freedom. How is it possible? Like you are in a cage and you want freedom. Only if you get out of the cage, you will get freedom. If not, then your freedom is not there. So same thing. We are just enclosed in the body. We have two options. In this body we can keep on trying to go for sense gratification, this like all the material people are doing. I mean, we are also we I also did in the past. Or we can seek to get out of this body, because one thing has to be very clear: in the material world you cannot get satisfaction unless and until you that conviction comes, you cannot take up the devotional service with full faith. If you still think that there is hope in the material world, then you so you can't put the your legs on two boats, right? Right now we are in one boat, which is the material world. Is we are doing some sense gratification, and then we are trying to get some happiness, pleasure out of it. But then at one point we have to ask, okay, then we are also trying to do some Krishna conscious activities to do that. But what we have to, at one point in our life, we have to understand is, okay, so there is no hope in this material world. The only hope is Krishna, and one we have to take that jump into that other boat. That means that we no longer hanker for sense gratification, and we only hanker for the so satisfying the senses of Krishna. Why? Rishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchati means if we engage in the service of Krishna, we automatically get satisfied. Like if two people are enjoying, even though one person is serving the other person, the person who is serving also gets the satisfaction. Same thing in the devotional service, we should understand that service doesn't mean like in the material world where we have to give all our energy to our boss or our family and they don't even get satisfied. But in the spiritual world, it is perfect. Means even if the person who is serving will also get transcendental happiness. And Krishna, that is also what this verse from 1634, what Narada Muni is basically the essence of what everything, all the Vedas and the Upanishads, even Bhagavad Gita, the Chatushloki says the same thing. Machitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So what do the devotees do? They seek derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening each other and conversing about me. So the devotees who are fully devoted in Krishna's service, they get that satisfaction, that the satisfaction that the regular material people are not getting, which is by constantly uh, discussing about the activities with among each other. And how can we do that? We go into the association and we always engage in Harikatha because there are two-step process, right? One is coming to Krishna consciousness with full faith and conviction, taking initiation. So that is only, Prabhupada says, only 50%, which is following the four regulative principles, then of chanting the 16 rounds, 50% of the goal is complete. But what about the remaining 50%? The remaining 50% is even after coming to Krishna consciousness, we have so many anarthas that we have in the previous life, in this life or in the previous lives also. But those have to be purified, right? Even uh, like yeah, so Narada Muni also basically continued the sadhana. So we have to continue that sadhana process, which includes the um, what is called Vajagriya Anartha Nivritti means all the anarthas that we have to get rid of them because we are looking for some name, fame, position, pratishtha. There is also Kutinati means like we cannot see other devotees getting more name, fame than others, and we try to pull them down. See, those are all the things that also have to be removed. That is the remaining 50%, which is also which is not as easy. It is very difficult, and for that also we need it's the same thing, which is the constantly hearing to the glories of the Supreme Lord. If we are constantly engaged in glorifying the Supreme Lord and his pastimes, our heart becomes purified. Krishna Katha has the potency to purify our heart. Chanting and Krishna Katha, like Krishna Nama and Krishna Katha go hand in hand, like together. And one is purifying the heart, and other is also making our attraction or the our love for Krishna more and more. And when we get to the state of Ruchi, then we get the taste, then we constantly engage automatically in the service of the Supreme Lord. So we have to always engage in that service, then it becomes the boat. If somebody is in the water and struggling in the material world, they have to constantly keep swimming, right? That's what we are doing in the material world, always trying to keep up by getting this satisfaction or this pleasure, that pleasure. But if somebody who doesn't know to swim also, if they get a boat, what happens? They don't need to know how to swim. They just get on the boat and happily cross the ocean. And this analogy has been given in multiple places where you just have to take the shelter of the Supreme Lord. Once we take the shelter of the Supreme Lord, then we immediately get the boat. And what else is mentioned here? Yeah, it's not like by stopping any activity, right? So Prabhupada is saying in the purport, same thing that Krishna says multiple times, that the living entity cannot stop any activity, but the only thing that we have to change is engage that activity. The activity should be yat karosi, yad asnasi, yad juhosi, yat tapasyasi kaunte, tat kurusham adarpanam. Means whatever you eat, whatever you do, whatever you give as donation, whatever charity you perform, whatever penance you perform, just do it as an offering to Krishna. Means we then it becomes purified. Then we don't get any more karma, and then we basically go back home, back to Godhead. And I will conclude by another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very apt in this same context, where Krishna is saying, Samashrita ye pada pallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murarehe Bhavam Budir Vatsa Padam Param Padam 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 Yat Vipadam Natesham. Means for those who have accepted the boat or the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon. The ocean of material world is like an water contained in the calf's hoofprint. Their goal is Parampadam, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. So, in this material world, there is danger at every step, there is dissatisfaction, there is anxiety every step. But in Vaikuntha, the name itself means Kunta means anxiety, Vai means no. So, there is no anxiety. So, once, how can we go there? Just by taking the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And how it becomes? This whole manifestation, like gigantic material world, that huge ocean, you see water everywhere, it becomes so small that it's like a water contained in the calf's footprint. Means like if a calf is walking in a muddy water, then a footprint is made and then water is accumulated there. How difficult is it to cross that? So that's why if we become a devotee of the Supreme Lord and constantly engage in the glorification of the Supreme Lord, this whole material version will become like so small and we can easily cross it. So with that, I close today's session. And any questions, comments, corrections?
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Any
Hare
questions,
Krishna.
reflections? Yes, Narendra, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Wonderful session, Prabhuji. I have a small question. This one, like, why Kunta is like misery or anxiety, Prabhuji?
Anxiety, or we can say anxiety, yeah. Because some people might try to avoid miseries by doing those activities, but anxieties will still be there because the same thing, right? Even though you might be enjoying something, there is an anxiety of, will I lose this? Will I lose that? So anxiety is a superset of miseries also. So you don't even have anxieties.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. So, if you do not have any questions, we will conclude here. Thank you very much, Patitapavana Prabhu, for giving nice Bhagavatam class. Let's thank him by chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. There are few announcements. On Saturday, we are going for picnic to Philadelphia, Franklin Institute. I hope you're all excited and you want to join. So, if so, please do necessary payment to the given Zelle number and then join into the group, WhatsApp group, so that we can work out tickets, prasadam and everything. It will be good if you all can respond by today or tomorrow. We can give prasadam count to the temple management so that they will make prasadam for us. It will be easy for them to purchase groceries and all other stuff. I encourage everyone to do payments and join in the WhatsApp group today itself. All Bhaktariksha leaders and Bhaktariksha host members, I encourage all of you to call your Bhaktariksha members and then encourage them to complete the payment and joining the WhatsApp group. Thank you. With that, we will conclude here. Let's offer our prayers to Lord Narasimhadeva for the protection of congregation and the entire world. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnam Jalantam Sarvatomukam Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mutyurmutyurnamamyaham. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnam Jalantam Sarvatomukam Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mutyurmutyurnamamyaham. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnam Jalantam Sarvatomukam Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mutyurmutyurnamamyaham. नरसिम्हा भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Wish you a very very happy Krishna conscious day ahead. We'll have a Srimad Bhagavatam class tomorrow morning 6:30 a.m. and we'll have a regular Sunday feast on February 15th. With that, we will conclude here by chanting Vaishnava Pranama and 3 times Hare Krishna Maha Mantra enthusiastically. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. भगवान श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा की जय. अमल पुराणम श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. स्वामी भक्तवृंद की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरे हरि बोल. हरे कृष्ण.